What's going on, everybody? It's the Hook Cam back again with another film breakdown, and today I really want to take a dive into the Oakland Raiders, this team that I really believe crushed the offseason. I think that they had a phenomenal draft. I think that they brought in some very key pieces. I want to take a look at specifically how I think this offense could change going into next year. Now, before I dive too far into this video, if you could hit that like button, hit that subscribe button to Jackson Kruger Sports. First and foremost, it is no secret that he has a strong following of Raiders fans on there. They're an absolutely loyal and awesome fan base. I have a ton of friends who are Raiders fans, so I'm actually getting a lot of joy out of doing this video, and I really do hope that it's entertaining, that it's a lot of fun for you guys who are Raiders fans, and I hope that I can really shed some light on what they're good at, what they can improve at, and how they went out and got the pieces that I think can improve the spots that they need help with. So with all that being said, guys, let's go ahead and dive on into this video. First things first, I really wanted to look at where this Raiders team struggled and where I think that they can get better. In my opinion, when I watched their team, specifically at the receiver position, I think that they had trouble creating separation, and if they weren't schemed up into routes that were going to cause friction and cause some traffic over the middle or play action with deep crossers, I think that they did struggle when it came to creating that separation. And there's a couple of clips here against the Texans. Right here we have a deep route by our number one receiver, and to be honest, this isn't a horrible route. He does have separation, but he just kind of stops running. Deep route running is definitely a skill to have in the NFL, and I think that the guys that they brought in, specifically you look at Henry Ruggs and Brian Edwards and Lynn Bowden, those three guys, I think do a really good job at running under a deep ball and creating that separation. A second thing here, and I just did a video on Darren Waller and how I just think he's an absolute stud. I'll go ahead and link that, and hopefully Jackson can too. But again, having trouble creating that separation at the top of a route, right? He's giving you a little bit of cushion, and then he's going to close on it. Now, this could be a number of things. That could be a scheme that the Texans, hey, we know that they love to run this on 3rd and long. They caught him in that. They ran it, and Texans got him on that. Absolutely. However, from what I noticed from the film, they had a lot of trouble time and time again creating separation when teams just went straight man against them. And you look at both games against the Chiefs, and in this clip right here, yeah, he has his hot open right away. Clearly, he's looking downfield, right? And yes, while he does have this hot, we're going to close on that in a heartbeat in the league, and it's not going to get there. Sticks are up here. Now, they just had a trouble creating that separation, right? And you look at the bottom of the screen, and we just kind of look through our viable receivers here. At the bottom of the screen are number 1, right? Number 12 down here, number 1 receiver, I should say. He's getting locked up at the bottom. There's no separation there. They basically bracket Darren Waller here, where if he breaks this thing inside, I believe that Sorensen's going to come down on it. If he breaks this thing out, then this defensive back's going to work out with him. They just had everything dialed in. And I think that the Raiders really did struggle when teams just went straight man and they pressed against them. And in terms of getting off of that press and breaking away from that man coverage, creating that separation, I think that they struggled. Now, when you go into the offseason, obviously they addressed that. And to me, I think that they lacked depth at receiver. I don't really think that that was a secret either. I think Tyrell Williams had a decent season. I think that he only had like 45 or 50 receptions. I would imagine they would liked for him to have a little bit more production, but he definitely made the most of the opportunity that he had. The dude had a couple of just tremendous games last year. Now we go and we look at what the Raiders brought in, and first things first, Henry Ruggs, a little bit of a draft recap, I guess, as well, so just kind of bear with me with this. I know that you've probably watched 1,000 of them by now if you're a diehard Raider fan. Henry Ruggs, what this kid can do, and what I think that he really does kind of remind me of a Tyreek Hill. His ability on double moves is just insane. Stems this thing to the inside, making it look like a post or a bang 8, breaks that thing back to the outside, and yeah, I understand we're playing Southern Mississippi here, but an insane amount of separation on this, and that's stuff that's special, that's tough to teach. You have a team like the Raiders who does such a good job of scheming guys open on play action with deep crossers and scheming them open with double moves off of play action. They do a really good job of tying everything into their offense. I think they did a good job last year given the receivers they had, but you add the talent levels of a Henry Ruggs and the speed that this kid has, I really think that he's going to ball out this year. I really do. His speed is insane. His double moves are insane. His ability on speed speed out of breaks. Everything he does is just elite in terms of athleticism. Now, hopefully that translates to the NFL, but we have a couple of instances here, and I just kind of wanted to show you guys, where do we see him really fitting in? Now, Tyrell Williams is obviously a different style of receiver than Henry Ruggs. Tyrell, much bigger guy, much more physical, still fast, however, nowhere near as fast as Henry Ruggs, and this is literally a one-man route, right? And you have to imagine that the Raiders saw something on film, give that quick play action, and we're going to run just a slant, breaks this thing off, and he's got a ton of room to work. Now, I see a route like that, and I think, damn, Tyrell Williams is getting open on that. Imagine what a dude like Henry Ruggs is going to do. Imagine what they're going to be able to do when they have Henry Ruggs and Bryan Edwards and Lynn Bowden, who are used to their system, who are in that offense, and they can really help, scheme those guys open, and those guys can all help each other out. Now, this is another thing that I noticed the Raiders doing last year, is they went into this, I would call it pinch. However, teams have done a bunch of different names for it. 2x2 with a tight alignment, right? 2x2 out here, 2x2 out here, and they're tight, within a yard of each other. Why teams love this is because you can create so much traffic out of it, right? And you look at just this really simple route concept at the top. He's going to run a corner, and then we're going to run a deep out, right? But with this corner route, you clear out the out, right? So as you work upfield, this corner has to place hands on you. You're going to clear out this out route by Darren Waller, but that corner's got to now make a decision. Are we going to sync with that corner, or are we going to stick with this out, which is what he does. We have some space right here for Hunter Renfrow, or I believe that's Hunter Renfrow, might be Zay Jones, to get open. Easy completion, right? And they do stuff like that. It is Zay Jones, my bad. They do a lot of things like that to help scheme their guys open. And once again, obviously, I can't sit there and throw a Madden simulation at you with, oh, this is what it's going to look like with Henry Ruggs, but just this is how I imagine it, right? When this offense, in my eyes, is really ticking and really hitting on all cylinders. They're running the rock well, right? They're pounding that inside zone, which again, I made a video on. You can check that out. And then they're setting up their passing game off of that run action. So we see here, there's going to be a double move from Tyrell Williams, but it takes him a lot of time to get into that break, out of it, right? He's going to stem that post to that out route, right? He's going to work up here and here. With Henry Ruggs, that's done in a heartbeat. He's going to make that happen real quick, and just adding that speed, I think, is going to add a completely new element to this Raiders offense. We have something like this right here where, again, where was this offense really, really ticking? When corners played off on the Raiders, they did a really good job of taking advantage of that space. So all that's going to happen is he's going to hit, I believe that's Tyrell Williams at the top on a slant, right? Stemming this thing upfield, boom, we're going to break it back into the middle of the field. Great job on that route, catch and throw from Derek Carr basically, and we're off. When teams gave the Raiders cushion to work with, they did a great job of taking advantage of that. Now, how do you create that cushion? There's a couple of ways. You either have really, really fast receivers who guys don't want to press up with them because if they do, they're going to get torched, or you run some play action, right? Because you're going to have to back guys off because they're worried about that deep shot, right? Essentially, make corners worry about the deep ball, and they're going to back off a little bit. Okay, so with this, we have our play action right. Once again, really selling that wide zone to the top, and then we're going to run our crossers underneath it, right? Tyrell Williams at the bottom here is just going to run a nice little dig. Once again, I think about Bryan Edwards, Henry Ruggs with his double movability, and where those guys really fit into this offense and how good they can be. Now, another element that we saw a little bit, especially with Darren Waller out on the edge and a little bit with Tyrell Williams too, is just those one-on-one matchups that receivers can go win. And a lot of that's confidence between a quarterback and a receiver. But with Bryan Edwards, one thing that I really noticed from him is he's really good at winning these one-on-ones, right? Not the best back shoulder ball, I wouldn't call it bad, but going up and getting it. Here's another situation where we're in the end zone, boxing a dude out, going up, high pointing that football. This kid's really athletic, and I know Jackson's already made a video on it, so I don't want to hit a ton on what Bryan Williams can bring because I think that it's pretty obvious at this point. He's a big physical receiver. He runs a faster 40 than Hunter Renfrow. I think that he really kind of fits into that Tyrell Williams mold, maybe a little bit more athletic. Now, is he just going to walk in and they're going to give him a spot off the bat? No, he's obviously going to have to earn that. But with that being said, I think that you have all of these receivers with the Henry Ruggs, Bryan Edwards, Tyrell Williams, Hunter Renfrow. When you have those guys working together and complementing each other, and then they start running formations like this at the bottom here, right, where we have Fabian Moreau, and then we have, obviously, Darren Waller, the two tight end sets, but when you have those guys with Darren Waller, who's at this wing spot, and then you have Bryan Edwards and Tyrell Williams, or you have Tyrell Williams and Hunter Renfrow, you can add those elements to it that's going to make things really, really difficult for a defense to cover all of their bases, right? And we look at a situation like this right here against the Packers, Yes, they do use this like tight bunch formation a lot, but once again, where do they struggle with, and where was I seeing the struggles with this Raiders offense? Again, it was with creating that separation. And you can help create separation, and you can help yourself out offensively when you have dudes who can really torch guys deep. Right, and you have up at the top, we're getting worked at, not really against the press, but he's just running with them. It's tough to go and complete that ball unless you're looking for a back shoulder, which he's not. You end up hitting your back underneath, which is exactly what he's supposed to do in this situation. He does it right, but again, you can see that struggle creating that separation. We're open here for a brief moment. I understand he probably likes this matchup better, which is why he's looking backside on this thing, but you can kind of catch my drift with this. So what to expect from the Raiders next year? I expect them to be using a lot more tight formations, tight alignments, trying to help those receivers create that separation. That's also really good to do for young receivers. That way you can kind of scheme them open, have them work on kind of their route running and stuff like that in practice, help them out a little bit when you get into the game mode by creating that traffic for them. Obviously they're going to hammer the rock, but using that play action to the best of their ability, setting up double moves for guys like Henry Ruggs, Tyrell Williams. I really think that this Raiders offense could be something special next year, especially with a guy like John Gruden at the helm. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that you can kind of see, hey, maybe this is what the Raiders offense will look like. Hopefully I painted that picture for you. Hope everybody's having a good day out there, staying safe, washing those hands. Hope everybody's being kind to one another. Hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, if you could hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, it would just mean the world to me, as well as to Jackson Kruger Sports. Hope everybody's having a good day. Stay safe, and I will see you next time.